Hello! This is Nikki in Niagara coming to you live from Niagara Falls, Canada. And today I have the rest of my May book haul. I did an upload on the 15th, I believe, that had my the books that I received from the beginning of May till then. And this is the second half of the month. So first of all, I wanted you to kind of get a look at what we were going to do. We've got, oh, it's heavy. We've got these three packages here. Okay, and then we've got this box right here, which really only has a couple of books in it, but it does have an envelope in it as well. So we'll go with this one first. Let's get rid of the big box. And first of all, we have from Amazon. From Amazon, we have, oops, a little bit crooked there. From Amazon, we have a couple of manga. We have The 7 Deadly Sins, number 20. We're really getting far in this series. I love this. This is my favorite high fantasy manga series at the moment. And looks like it says together again, but for how long? So kind of sounds like maybe we might be ending the current story arc and going on to another one, but we'll see. And then we have, not sure if this is the last volume or not, Corpse Party, Blood Covered, number 5. This is a manga series that, this is the latest book in, but I haven't started reading it yet. So it's in my to-be-read pile. And will be coming up pretty soon. It says the end is nigh. If they can't solve this mystery soon, it'll be too late. So who knows if that's the last volume or not. Okay, so that's the big book. Big box gone. Obviously, I received other things in it that weren't books. The next one is, again, from Amazon, so there's a good chance that it has manga in it. A little bit. We have the final volume of Tegami Bachi. Now, I have been reading this since it came out in something like 2010. I don't know. Last couple of years, they've just had like, I think the last couple of years, they only had one book come out a year, or every 6 months or something. But, yeah, this is really good. I'm going to have to go back and read maybe the last 2 so I can read the last 3 books all in a row and kind of get myself up to where I am in the story and everything. But this is a fantasy and kind of, actually, it's kind of a cross between fantasy and science fiction because it takes place in another world and there is science involved, but there's magic involved too, so one of those. And then one thing that I did was I need to get the rest of the books in the American Vampire series. So I ordered some from BookOutlets, but they didn't have volume 6, so that came from Amazon. Okay, so that's done. Next, we have an envelope from Simon & Schuster. And I don't know what this is because I thought they had sent me everything already for this month. Girl in Snow by Danya Kukafka. Name doesn't ring a bell. I guess I should hold it back. I'll see if there's a note. And now I'll read and see if it... In the aftermath of a murder, residents of a small town struggled to bury the golden girl they thought they knew. I'm pretty sure I requested this. Let's read a little bit of the synopsis. Cameron Whiteley still loves Lucinda Hayes. His erratic, troubled behavior would cause any sensible onlooker to call him her stalker. But the nights he spent watching Lucinda through her bedroom window convinced Cameron that Lucinda understands him. The same nights leave him with more memories than he can bear. Everyone knows Jade Dixon Burns hated Lucinda. Lucinda took everything from Jade, her job and her best friend, and remained blissfully ignorant to the damage she'd wrought. Intense and brooding, Jade channels her anger into dark passions, all aimed in Lucinda's direction. Now Lucinda is dead, and Jade's crippling guilt surprises her more than anything. And there's more, but that's as much as we're going to read. I don't like reading the whole thing. So that is a review book, which is going to come out August 22nd from Simon & Schuster. Thank you for that. And our next one is from Penguin Random House, and it feels like there's 2 books in there. Again, I thought I had received everything from them this month, but here we go again. Let's see if I remember ordering these. Okay, so the first one is, yeah, it's got a belly band around it, so it's covering up the whole title, but it's The Space Something Stars. Space Between the Stars. In a breathtakingly vivid and emotionally gripping debut novel, one woman must confront the emptiness in the universe and in her own heart when a devastating virus reduces most of humanity to dust and memories. Okay, I do remember requesting this one because it's a dystopia, end of the world by virus. That's one of my favorite types of dystopias to read. Okay, so let's just read. I can get the belly band down a bit. Oh yeah, I'll just read till the ellipses. All Jamie Allenby ever wanted was space. She fled the claustrophobic confines of an overpopulated Earth, only to find herself working on a frontier world on the edges of civilization. Then the virus hit. Now Jamie finds herself dreadfully alone with all that's left of the dead, until a garbled message from Earth gives her hope that someone from her past might still be alive. Now her journey home will help her close the distance between who she has become, and who she is meant to be. So that sounds like it's quite involved and probably crosses over into several different genres. Could be some realistic fiction in there and some science fiction. And on to the next one is, oh, just let me tell you when that one comes out. This is coming out June 13th from Penguin Random House. And the next book is Skitter by Ezekiel Boone. Now this is actually a sequel to a book that I haven't read, but I do want to read it. So I am going to read the first book, which is called The Hatching, and then I'll read this one. So, there's no blurb on the back, or actually I should say there's just blurbs on the back. That when it tells you, what it tells you about the book is called a synopsis, but I always call it a blurb. A blurb is when other authors comment on the book. So I don't want to find out what happens in the first book, so I'm just going to read the blurbs on the back so we can get an idea of what this is. A full throttle pulse. Oh, this is these are words for the hatchling, so that's alright. A full throttle pulse pounder that will keep you up all night feverishly flipping its pages. An apocalyptic extravaganza of doom and heroism, addictive. Guaranteed to do what Jaws did to millions of people. Great gory fun and creepy in every sense of the word. The Hatching is a hair-raising thriller that reads like the love child of Independence Day and World War Z, but is creepier than both. So that's the first book, The Hatching, and then this is the second book, Skitter. Those two are going to be coming up soon. And this comes out, okay, I think this is the finished copy. Yeah, it is. It's a finished copy that they've sent me, so it's probably already out. Doesn't have the month on the copyright page. So, there we go. Now, last box is the biggest. I got an order from BookOutlet. And they do free shipping now in Canada for orders over $35. So, I just live about 20 minutes, 25 minutes away from their warehouse store. So I usually go to the store and pick up my order. Like I'll order online and then I'll go there and I'll pick up my books. I also go into the store and walk around and buy stuff sometimes too. But I was on their website and it was free for $35 and over, so I got there, so I just had it delivered. And it was here real quick, obviously. So we'll open up the box. I didn't even look, so the chances of me, whoops, sorry, knocking you around there. The chances of me exactly remembering what I bought are pretty slim. So we open up the box, and we have a receipt. We have lots of, I'm a crafty girl, so I call this journaling paper. Ooh, okay, there we go. Oh boy, it is a box full. Now usually when I buy books like to read, when I'm actually buying them, I usually buy non-fiction because those are the books I like to keep. But we got a mixture of stuff in here. So, first of all, I am so wanting to read this. It is Go Down Together by Jeff Guinn. Now I just finished reading his latest book, which came out this month. Yeah, I think it came out in May, or it might have come out in March, but anyways, it's fairly new. The Road to Jonestown, about Jim Jones and his cult that committed mass murder, mass suicide, massacre, whatever you want to call it, in Guyana. And it was really, really good, like excellent. I love the way he writes a story. Previously to that, about 5 years ago, he had a book come out, which was the first time I'd heard of him, Jeff Guinn, called Manson. And I thought I pretty much knew everything there was to know about Charles Manson and the story and all that kind of stuff. But I read his book anyway, and it was absolutely amazing. I learned so much. And it wasn't just about the person Manson. It was about the whole culture, the whole 60s, the world that Manson lived in, and how he became who he was, and would that person today or in an earlier time have turned out the way he did, that he kind of like hit in the times and place just at the wrong time, we could say. So anyways, two really good experiences. So I found out that he had two other books, and one of them was on Bonnie and Clyde, and that's where this book comes in, Go Down Together. The true untold story of Bonnie and Clyde. Now, they are my absolute favorite gangster team, or whatever. When I was a little kid, I wanted to be Bonnie, okay? Don't judge, but for some reason, I loved gangster stuff. And so I've seen the movies, and I've read other books about this, but I'm really expecting Jeff Guinn to give me a whole new perspective, and I'm really excited about reading that. So, while I was there, they also, let's see if I can find it in here, they also had his other book. I'm not sure which one came first, but it's the last book. If you count the other three, this is the fourth one. And this is The Last Gunfight, which is the real story of the shootout at the OK Corral and how it changed the American West. So, I love all that gunslinger type stuff, and this, of course, is about Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, the Clantons, all that kind of stuff in Tombstone, Arizona. So that is going to be really good. So there's a picture of Wyatt Earp. That's not Jeff Guinn. That is Wyatt Earp on the back. So I thought I would like that too. So now I have all his books. I've read two, and I've got two to go. I'm really looking forward to those. So let's see what else we got. Now this book I've had a really hard time finding. It is out of print on Amazon, and it even looks like it wasn't even put in print. But I have read two books by Ryan David Jahn. His last two books, so they're not on this one because it's an earlier one, and I can't remember what they're called. But his last book was just The Dispatcher. It is. It's in here. The Dispatcher. That was absolutely awesome. Raw mystery. If I remember correctly, it was like Appalachia, and you know, all that kind of like poor white mountain people type of story, if I'm remembering right. But it was good. It was really, really good. And then I read his book of short stories, which I thought was just absolutely amazing too. And then he has a couple other books that he published, but they're like out of print, or they look like they maybe never even did get printed in the US. And he is American, so that's really weird. But this is a British edition from Pan Macmillan of The Last Tomorrow. And I'll just read you a little bit on the back here. You can see what kind of book he writes. We're in Los Angeles, 1952. After 13-year-old Sandy Duncan shoots his stepfather and carves a symbol from a comic book into the corpse's forehead, District Attorney Seymour Markley launches a grand jury investigation into the murder, one that could complicate East Coast crime boss James Manning. I have to laugh there because that's my grandfather's name. Or James Manning. That's funny. Also in the frame is the comic book's creator, Eugene Dahl. When the threatening notes appear nailed to his front door, he is lured to a downtown hotel where one of the men who could bring down James Manning is being held. There, Eugene finds the witness murdered, as well as the police officer charged with protecting him, and all fingers point to Eugene. Forced to go on the run, he devises a plan that involves deeds far worse than anything he's been accused of. Well, that sounds great. So, I think his book of short stories was Low Life. So that means that there's a book called Acts of Violence of his that I have to try and find. Okay. Then we got Entrelac Knitting number 2. I have book 1 and really like it, so I thought I would get the second one. Okay, so then I got the American Vampire books. I have, I believe, one in I guess I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I got 6, and here's 7 and 8. So, there we go. So, now I have the whole series and I can read it. Also got another drawing book, and this one is 20 Ways to Draw a Butterfly and 44 Other Things with Wings. I'm more interested in the other things with wings than the actual butterflies, but we got bats, and there's owls, flying fish, all sorts of different kinds of birds and planes, and bugs, roosters, there's even flying pigs. So that'll be a lot of fun. There, each page has suggestions on things to draw and a page for you to draw on. Whoops, I'm doing it backwards, sorry. So I'm not going to actually draw in the book, but I will use it to help myself draw. Then I got Dr. Mutter's Marvels, a true tale of intrigue and innovation at the dawn of modern medicine. I've wanted to read this for a long time too. One of the places I would love to go is the Mutter Museum in, I don't even know where it is, but Dr. Mutter was a doctor. Okay, it's the Mutter Museum of Medical Oddities. That's what it's called. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I know he is, but I couldn't explain it to somebody. So anyways, if you watched American Horror Story Season 3, is it Freaks? There was people who belonged to a Museum of Oddities, and they were trying to kill the freaks so that they could put them in the museum. And if you remember that storyline, that museum was based on Dr. Mutter's Museum of Medical Oddities. And so anyways, he's an amazingly interesting person, and I'm really into that creepy macabre kind of medicine. I have other kind of books like this, and this looks like it is extensively illustrated. That is really cool. It looks like it's mostly reproductions of things, but oh no, there's, yeah, no, I mean, that's not an interesting picture or anything, but it's got pictures all throughout it. I can't wait to read that. This is going to be really good. Okay, now an author I have been wanting to read forever, and I have a book of her short stories, which I will probably read before I read this, but Flannery O'Connor. She is the perfect type of Southern Gothic type of writing that I just really, really love. But I haven't read her specifically. So this is her very first novel, Wise Blood, and I thought I'd start there since it was her first one, the one that kind of like put her on the map. And it just sounds really, really good. Wise Blood, Flannery O'Connor's astonishing and haunting first novel, is a classic of 20th century literature. It is a story of Hazel Motes, a 22-year-old caught in an unending struggle against his inborn desperate fate. He falls under the spell of a blind street preacher named Asa Hawks and his degenerate 15-year-old daughter, Sabbath Lily. In an ironic, malicious gesture of his own non-faith, and to prove himself a greater cynic than Hawks, Hazel Motes founds the church without Christ, but it's still thwarted in his efforts to lose God, and blah, blah, blah. Flannery O'Connor is one of the greatest Catholic writers, but her books are all written about Protestants. There's a famous quote from her, which I'm probably going to misquote, but it goes something like, when asked why, as a Catholic, she writes about Protestants, she said, because if Catholics become religious fanatics, they can just become nuns or priests, while Protestants, religious Protestant fanatics, are very fun to write about. Something like that. That is a totally misrepresentation, but that was the gist of it, and I think that's funny. Her attitude like that, I definitely want to read her. So that's all my books, and it is plenty of them. A whole bunch that I bought. Some graphic novels, mostly non-fiction, some fiction, and I got some manga, and I received 3 review books. 2 from Penguin Random House, thank you very much, and 1 from Simon & Schuster, thank you also. So those will go on my TBR, and I will see you next time. I plan on doing my book hauls once a month, if it takes that long for me to collect enough, because I don't get tons of books like this all the time. But I will do them in the middle of the month if I've already collected enough books at that point. So I will see you next time, and give me your opinion on any of these books if you've read them or you're looking forward to reading them yourself. Do you like these authors? Tell me anything about the books, and we'll have a combo down below in the comments section. And if you've gotten this far and enjoyed my video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, then subscribe down below, and you can find out what I'm up to next time. So goodbye! See you next time.